400 years ago, Francis Bacon recognized the importance of reading, writing, and oral communication in a classical education. He was also saddened that not all had access to this, as only the very rich could afford a classical education. This illustrates that the importance of literacy is not a new idea. What has changed is that all students now have access to literacy learning. It is our job to make sure that they have this access, and that we offer meaningful opportunities for them to strengthen these literacy skills. In order to do so, we must take a closer look at what is effective and what needs improvement.
Our greatest asset is access to data. This data that we use to illustrate our literacy needs comes in various kinds of testings, such as the FCAT, FAIR, FCAs, and CELA. However, looking closely at the statistics would indicate that students need improvement in reading comprehension, and observation would indicate that we need to implement research-based reading strategies in every classroom.
Our school monitors achievement on the FAIR test closely. FAIR stands for Florida Assessments in Reading, and it is administered to screen, monitor progress, and guide instruction accordingly. It is specific to testing phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. Our report card reveals that 27% of our students are considered at risk. To support literacy learning, over 30% participate in an additional reading class along with their literature class. The chart to the right is based on statistics drawn from the latest administration of the FAIR test and is a predictor of how our students are expected to achieve on the FCAT in 3 areas, which include reading comprehension, maze, and word analysis. For those unfamiliar with the indicator, maze assesses silent reading fluency and word comprehension. As you can see, in comprehension, our students fall in the lower 50% statewide on predicted FCAT performance this year. This is a clear indication that there needs to be a focus on reading comprehension. So, how can we improve our students' literacy rates? According to the reading panel, there are several things we can do. They suggest offering time for oral reading and promoting vocabulary instruction that implements many strategies. Also, Marchand, Martella, Orlob, and Eby suggest that reading comprehension is improved by approaching instruction through corrective and repeated reading and utilizing peer instruction. Finally, Palinsar and Brown suggest using scaffolds as a method of teaching cognitive strategies. I'm going to offer 3 distinct ideas that are supported by this research for us to implement at our school. A study from York University has found that discovering why a joke is funny can improve a student's reading more than just reading sentences. This is definitely a different approach and sounds a lot more inviting. However, the point is that we need to make sure that we are offering differentiated instruction to our literacy learners. One option for us is to offer corrective reading in addition to oral reading with peer-delivered instruction. One of our literature teachers has recommended the SRA corrective reading program as they have experienced success with this program in the past and feel that it is perfect for our needs. The corrective reading program, which our reading classes will be offering within the next month, involves curriculum provided by McGraw-Hill. It follows a direct instructional model and offers differentiated instruction by catering to 3 proficiency levels. The first level, B1, is geared for students who experience difficulty with reading words in text and in isolation. Decoding B2 is geared for students who need to increase fluency and identify similarly spelled words. The last level, Decoding C, reaches students who need help decoding multisyllabic words, increasing fluency, and comprehending their classroom textbooks. To deliver instruction, the classroom teacher briefs peer tutors on how to instruct by modeling exercises and guided practice to be performed, to correct errors, and to praise. Emphasis is placed on oral reading in this program. Each of our disciplines has vocabulary that is tied to it, and we have our own methods for teaching this vocabulary. The following, however, are a few research-based strategies that everyone can employ. The first strategy to promote vocabulary learning involves having students derive word lists. These lists come from picking out words in text that fall into one of three categories. The first category includes words that are familiar, but they are not sure of the meanings. The second category is composed of words that they have encountered but do not know their meaning, and the third category includes words that they have never seen and do not know their meaning. These lists help teachers to prioritize vocabulary that requires direct and explicit instruction. The second strategy to promote vocabulary learning is to use graphic organizers. The graphic organizer on the right offers a concept mapping which allows students to compare and contrast words on a continuum according to weak and strong relationships, allows students to predict meanings, and requires them to adjust the meaning accordingly after reading the word in context. The Freyer model allows for making predictions and adjusting the meanings after the word is read in context. There are many different kinds of graphic organizers, and all offer the opportunity for discussion and word awareness. I think we all need higher level cognitive ability to digest this quote. Higher level cognition is necessary for comprehension, interpretation of text, scientific process, and problem solving. Also, we are currently transitioning to Common Core state standards, which are quite rigorous. Therefore, it is in our best interest to employ scaffolding, which is a strategy that supports higher level thinking. Scaffolding is a structure that supports students in bridging the gap between their current knowledge and experience and their intended goals. There are 6 basic steps. The first step is to present the new cognitive strategy where a concrete prompt is introduced, skill is modeled, and brainstorming is performed to make choices. The second step is to offer guided practice while anticipating areas of difficulty and proceeding in small steps from easy to difficult. The third step is to vary the context for practice, allow for reciprocal teaching, and allow for small group work. The fourth step is to provide feedback and offer expert examples or work and checklists. Step 5 requires diminishing support and requiring students to take a more independent role while increasing complexity of the task and checking for mastery. And the 6th step provides independent practice while requiring extension and application. This is general enough to support many learning environments, but has the ability to be specific to the objective being taught. A linguistics professor was lecturing to her English class one day. In English, she said, a double negative forms a positive. In some languages, though, such as Russian, a double negative is still a negative. However, there is no language wherein a double positive can form a negative. A voice from the back of the room pipes up, "Yeah, right." Apparently that student was skeptical. It is not surprising that you may be feeling skeptical about being able to implement these strategies in your classroom. The following is an example of how we could implement these school-wide while throwing in a little writing activity. This reading lesson plan is applied to the Army JROTC leadership classes and will take approximately 5 days to complete. As you know, they meet throughout the day, and all students are required to take this course. We also are very interested in our underclassmen or followership students learning from our upperclassmen or leadership students. These periods offer the perfect opportunity for peer teaching to occur in support of not only the leadership curriculum, but also the reading and literacy learning. In this lesson, students will use the 3 strategies previously discussed to teach the definitions of honor and integrity, determine the main idea of a reading passage called the West Point Honor System, and to form an argument for or against a prevailing idea using research from at least one source, and articulate this argument through a written essay and oral presentation. In preparation for this activity, teachers must arrange all materials. Then they will need to determine the peer 2T pairings that will best facilitate learning. Peer tutors must be trained in fostering a nurturing rapport, mastering and modeling of the skills, and providing feedback and praise. In this lesson, students will use the 3 strategies previously discussed to teach the definitions of honor and integrity, determine the main idea of a reading passage called the West Point Honor System, and to form an argument for or against a prevailing idea using research from at least one source, and articulate this argument through a written essay and oral presentation. In the second part of the activity, the student reads the passage for the first time called the West Point Honor System. While the student reads, they complete the vocabulary word list. For the second reading, students are to focus on their thoughts about West Point's code versus the Code of Honor. Peer tutors make sure to correct 2 T's in their pronunciation, and on the third reading begin asking comprehension questions about the text. If a student doesn't know the answer, the tutor will find the passage that contains the answer. The tutee will reread, and the tutor will ask again. On the third reading, students are to focus on their thoughts about West Point's code versus our Code of Honor. Peer tutors make sure to correct 2 T's in their pronunciation, and on the third reading begin asking comprehension questions about the text. If a student does not know the answer, the tutor will find the passage that contains the answer, and the tutee will reread, and the tutor will ask again. At this point, the peer tutor will offer an opinion article pulled from the internet, where they will proceed to model the steps for summarization. After completed, the tutee will try with a new article. The tutor will refrain from helping and offer feedback. For independent practice, the peer tutor will offer time for their tutee to find an article of their choice. They will then be asked to compose a summary and write an article in favor or against the opinion of the writer. In the next class, they will begin to present their writings. Lastly, to extend and apply their new knowledge, they will be asked to reconsider our school's honor code and write about any corrections that they feel need to be made to it. There are many methods for assessment, but mainly rubrics are used for the summary, editorial, and presentation. Peer observation is used for participation and engagement. Assignments include the vocabulary graphic organizers. I hope that this lesson gives comfort and encourages you to incorporate reading and writing into your curriculum. If we would all do this, just imagine the improvement our students would realize. We might even make it into the newspaper. Finally! Please take time to complete the following survey and submit to the front office. Thank you.